He's left me again. Yes, sir.
Yes. Well, I'm very interested in getting into protecting myself. I was wondering what sort of tips you for
Absolutely. What's your name? Joe, I'm glad you asked, because several people had asked me this earlier in the halls, and I said, ask me in the panel, because I knew there would be a lot of people that would want to know. Here's the thing, you guys. Voice acting is about two things. First, acting. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Do you know why anime dubs were so bad years ago? Because the people that they were hiring were not actors. They were radio guys. And they had these great voices, but they couldn't act. They had these really good resonant radio voices, and people thought, well, we need to record these guys talking. Who better than guys that sit in front of a microphone and talk, right? I mean, like radio guys. But they weren't actors. And so at some point in time, somebody thought, hey, why don't we try auditioning actors who like actually play characters and stuff. I'm not gonna, you're not gonna hear me on the morning drive time radio because I don't have that kind of a radio voice. But I've spent a lot of time, studying and performing and acting and developing those skills. And that's when anime dubs really took a turn for the better, was when they started bringing actors in. So the first thing is acting. Get as much experience, Joe, as you can acting. High school, college plays, school plays, community theater, church programs, anything you can do to develop your skills as an actor. That's most important. A lot of people say to me, well, I can make funny voices, or I can imitate Homer Simpson, or I can sound just like, Laura Bailey in Shin Chan. Awesome, but there's a problem there. We already have Homer Simpson. You're not likely to get cast to play Homer Simpson, you know what I'm saying? Or Laura Bailey in Shin Chan. So the trick is not necessarily imitating funny voices. The challenge is to be able to play a character through all of the highs and lows that character goes through emotionally, and be able to express it through your voice. So acting is the first thing. The second thing, location. If I wanted to be a country singer, where would I move to? Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, country music capital of the world. There are only a handful of places where voice acting work is done. Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, New York City a little bit, not much, and Vancouver, and a little bit in Toronto. But what's that, 6, 7 places, right? So if you, there he is, Frank, what's up? Hey man, give me some love. Yeah, baby. Give me some of that Junpei love. Anyway, if you want to do something like that, you need to be where that kind of work is done, right? Now, let me tell you this. This is the good news. There's a difference between voice acting and voiceover. Voiceover is like announcer, commercial stuff. If you're suffering from hemorrhoids. You know what I mean? Someday. That's voiceover. Announcer type stuff. Call tomorrow for your free gift. I mean, that's voiceover. Voice acting is like playing a character in some kind of a story where you have to, portray all the emotions of the character. So, just about any city will have some form of voiceover opportunity, because retail businesses have to have radio commercials. You know what I mean? Companies are going to have TV spots and radio spots, and they're going to need somebody to record those spots. Now, depending on the size of the market, Joe, a little city is not going to have as many opportunities as a big city. You go to Chicago or even Albany, there are going to be like local businesses that are having TV commercials and radio commercials, and there are probably talent agencies in Albany that you can get hired by. You can be represented, and you will make a demo of you reading certain commercial copy, and they'll sign you, and then they will submit your demo. When, let's say, Joe's Bar and Grill comes up and says, I need a radio spot, I'm looking for somebody who has a good country accent because I serve like barbecue ribs and stuff like that in my restaurant. I want to sound real down home and friendly. Well, then the talent agency looks through all of their guys and they go, okay, who has that kind of a voice? And they'll submit whoever does to audition for that radio commercial. That's voiceover. voice acting is done in those other cities that I mentioned, and you just have to be where the work is. You could be the greatest voice actor that God ever made, and if you live in Kentucky, chances are you're not going to get the chance to use your voice acting skills. So, acting and location are the two main things in voice acting. All the best voice actors I know have huge amounts of experience in acting. Some of us have degrees in theater and have spent a lot of years performing. So that's a very big key. Yes, ma'am?
I'm curious, this is so silly, but what's your favorite book to read aloud and why?
What's my favorite book to read aloud?
Yes, or if you don't have one, what would it be?
Oh, see, I hate reading. You want to hear a funny story? When I was your age, my mom would take me to the 2 libraries in our town, and I would get a book from each one of them, and I would read it all week long, both books. And then the next Monday, she would take me, and I would turn those books in to get 2 more books. And I did it all the time, until I discovered movies. And television. And then suddenly, I just didn't read as much anymore. Now, I will say this, I do read a couple of books regularly. Again, I'm answering your question. I'm not being preachy or anything. I try to read the Bible regularly, and I also have like devotional books, like daily kind of encouragement things that I read. But I don't really get the chance to read like books, like Twilight or something. Team Edward. That's my favorite t-shirt. I love seeing that. Who would want that tall, skinny, dorky-looking guy when you can have Edward Elric? Anyway, I don't get the chance to read, but you know what my idea of reading is? My idea of reading is audiobooks. Like, I'll buy an audiobook when I have a long drive. Like, I bought William Shatner's autobiography. Because I love William Shatner. And so I bought his book, and I listened to it when I drove out to California, right? And so I like to tell people, yeah, I'm currently reading such and such a book. No, I'm listening to it. I'm not reading anything. But I don't get the chance to read a lot of books. I'm sorry. Reading a book aloud, though, geez, I don't know. Well, the Bible. But a cool translation. Like, I didn't even tell you this. The translation that I used here, it's not the therefore did the Lord verily smite thee upon thy face, amen. It's not like the King James. A lot of people I know, they're like, whoosh, it doesn't reach you, you know what I mean? But this is a very contemporary translation called The Message. It's awesome. It's like, instead of saying, great was the wrath of the Lord, this says, God was ticked off. Right? I mean, it's like, yeah, that's what I would have said, It's very contemporary the way we talk. So, anyway, yes. Yes. To my knowledge, this is Greece. That's all I remember. Now, the good news is there's more Greece coming. Somebody told me that I was in Funimation. When I was there, remember I just said I was there finishing Brotherhood? I was finishing Brotherhood, and I saw the guy that's directing the dub for Italia in the hallway. And I went, hey, Scott. And he goes, hey, man. I said, dude, I haven't seen you in so long. And he goes, yeah. He goes, listen, the next season, Greece has a lot of stuff. Like, he just was letting me know that there's more Greece stuff coming. But I haven't really gotten to do much yet, so I don't really have much to say. I just asked a gentleman, so yes. Yes.
What do you think of Little Creole and
Well, you know what? I've met Little Crebo several times. He's a really nice guy. really funny because he's British, and so he's very dry. You know what I mean? Everything's how are you? Nice to meet you. Good to see you. I mean, you know what I mean? He's very, very even-tempered, but you know, we all know that what he's really doing is like all this crazy fun stuff. He's a really good guy, and he contacted me and asked me if I would do something with him. And I'm like, sure, why not? Some of the other voice actors were like, oh, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, why not? It's fun, you know, what the heck? So, yeah, he's a really fun guy. He's very talented. I'd love to see him get the opportunity to do some, I'd like to do some, like, professional gigs, like get cast in something and do some voice acting. Yes.